Hey there, sports fans. Welcome on in. It's the Down and Dirty with Scott Mitchell. So glad you could join us. It's a Monday, but it's a March Monday. It's right in the middle of March. That means it's March Madness. The brackets have been decided, the teams have been seeded, and now it's just time for us to, fill out all our brackets. And if you fill out enough of them, you're going to lose enough of them. And so, fun thing. I love March Madness. I love to pick the brackets. I have all different kinds of strategies and how I do it. Sometimes they're good and sometimes they're bad, but we'll get into all that today. But it's an exciting time for the basketball tournament to happen. Oh my goodness, it's I think it's one of the best things that we watch in sports. It's compelling. It goes on. It's got drama. It has upsets. It has also teams that you expect and they deliver, and that's it. That's exciting as well. So best part of college basketball, probably one of the better parts of just sports in general, is happening with March Madness. And then of course we got all the crazy things going on in the rest of the sports world. Baseball is in full swing. We've got some basketball stuff. We have some football stuff. So we like to cover our baskets, and all that stuff. So we'll get right into it. Okay. So March Madness, of course, is starting this week in the state of Utah. Of course, Utah State and BYU are in. BYU I feel like kind of limps in. They've got really one of arguably the top 2-3 players in the country, AJ DeBansta. So that will be an exciting event for BYU. I want to bring Martin in to kind of have a discussion here about March Madness and kind of how it all plays out. There's a lot of different scenarios, with kind of there's always that Cinderella team, right? There's always that upset early on, and we hadn't seen a 116 upset for a long time, and recently we've seen a couple in, and so that always adds to intrigue with this. But so Martin, first off, I'm curious, like how do you the first thing we got to get out of the way is picking the brackets. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna get into upsets, I'm gonna get into some other things, but I want to get into how do you pick your brackets? Like, do you go and look up all the statistics and the analytics and you look at the matchups and you go, is this a good matchup? Is it a bad matchup? How do you actually pick your brackets?
I do hours and hours of research and study and watch film.
Okay, are you serious about this, or are you joking?
I watch nothing but college basketball highlights every single night. No, I just go like I don't know. For some reason, when I do these brackets, I turn into like a 10-year-old that just likes cool logos, and I just go, all right, that team, that team, that team, that team.
Yeah.
So, it's a little bit of both. I don't to ping off your number one seed. I don't think any number one seed is going to get upset this year, but some other matchups beyond the bracket, inside the bracket, are going to be really, really interesting.
So you're you don't do any analysis, you don't do any study. You're just like whatever the prettiest color is, because a lot of women pick this way. They go, that's my favorite color, or I really like that logo. And I'm not knocking this strategy, because in a lot of ways it's really right. Now there have been a lot of years, that the one seeds make it all the way through, or you have most 1 seeds and a 2 seed. I think that what's happening in college basketball, and I think maybe they're getting it more right, it seems like, because it seems like more teams that are expected to win actually do win and make it through. And because it's really hard to have a bracket and it just gets busted early on. Like that's just the worst thing that happens in really all of this. And so yeah, we have like the East Regional there, or at least we have a photo, and like Duke is always they're just kind of always in the mix. Always. It's just amazing that they've continued to be in the mix for all, for time and all eternity. And of course, that the East Regional to me, you have Duke and you have UConn, and I think those are how.
Those are
Here's the thing that's hard for me with this. Okay, so you look at last year, right? And Duke makes it to the finals, and they lose to Florida, and or it might have been the semifinal. I don't know. Anyways, they lose to Florida, and they have Cooper Flag, and they have Con Kneipel, and they've got a bunch of really good players. Or you have like Rutgers that had VJ Edgecombe and Ace Bailey, and you're just like, how do these teams not win? Because these guys all of a sudden go on and they're like freaking amazing in the NBA, and yet they couldn't find a way to win. So having talent, having uber talent, I don't know, is always the best thing. It's almost like those teams that play well through, as a team, and they're just, because you've got BYU, and BYU, of course, they're kind of hurt this year with some of the injuries they've had, but AJ DeBansta has led the country in scoring as a freshman, which is a very unusual thing. He's a very electric player, but is he enough to carry BYU? And in a kind of, you're not trying to get through the season. It's like, so you just expend all your energy. You're just doing everything that you possibly can. So BYU, is it the winner of the Texas
North Carolina State game?
North
So they're
Carolina State game.
Matchup, yeah.
So they're waiting for that game to happen. Yes. But regardless, so wow, that seems like a tough matchup for BYU. But regardless, that they're a team. Can you get by with? You've seen some of these teams that just had this player get on fire, and they've rode just a hot player for a long way in the tournament. Maybe BYU has that. That's kind of what they have to hope for. It certainly feels like Arizona maybe is the team to beat in the whole thing, and it's just it's really fascinating to me. But my theory on picking teams is also fascinating as well. And I'm so beyond just colors, is there anything else that you kind of because I have a crazy one I'm going to tell you about in a minute, but I'm just curious if there are any other things that you have that are like how you pick these teams.
I guess in the past I tried to be the smart one, and I kind of had a few busted brackets for sure right out of the gate. I've been on the other side of a 14 or 15 seed upsetting a 3 or a 14 2 seed team. You're just like, what happened? I mean, I do small research. I'm like a casual, like I do that research the night before a test or something like that. But this year, I mean, looking through the bracket, Scott, I mean, yeah, it's going to be a really, really good tournament this year. There's a lot of low seed teams I think can get some wins, and it's just going to be a fun year. And I'm really excited about it. And March Madness is just a fun time. That's all.
Okay. So, no, it really is. And I think here's my challenge. Okay. This is my challenge. I don't want to lose. Right. I'll give you, I have a small confession. From time to time, when I have a moment, I have certain games that I'm not a gamer. Okay. So I don't play video games on a computer because if I did, I would have a worthless life. I'd be consumed by it. And so I know those are the things I stay away from. And it's video gaming and it's soap operas. Those are the two things I stay away from. There was one summer in my life growing up. I don't know, I was maybe 13 years old, 12, and one summer I got caught up in video in soap operas. And I would start watching at like 9 o'clock in the morning, and by 2 in the afternoon, I just wasted the whole. I mean, I wasted an entire summer once, and I just got hooked on soap operas, and it's the same thing with video games. So if I ever, I would just be consumed if I was a gamer. So I just stay away from it. In fact, my rookie year, and I go to my first mini camp, right? So I just drafted, go to the Miami Dolphins. I get there. I have a roommate, Brian Kinchin, who is a tight end from LSU, played several years in the NFL. I walk into the room. I have no idea what to expect. And I pop in the room, and Brian's, kind of laying on his side on the bed with a video controller, and he's playing Super Mario Brothers. And then he's got his golf clubs in the corner. And I'm like, playing those video games, I would never stop. And he would come in the room when we'd have breaks, in between meetings and practice. And it's like, I never watched. All I did is I watched my roommate play Super Mario Brothers. That was my first. And so so I play these games from time to time, and I really try not. I only do it in certain moments but I don't do it all the time. But I hate to play these games on my phone because you sometimes lose. And so I try to play the games that I'll never lose at. And so, like, for example, one of the games is like backgammon on your phone. And so I'll play that game, or there's a card game, like a form of solitaire called Free Cell. And I haven't lost the game yet on either one of those. And I play them only because I win all the time. So it's really hard for me to pick a bracket because I can't stand when I lose. It's just like everything in my life is such a hard, like, it's just so competitive. And even this stupid March Madness. And so there's a side of me that's like, okay, every year during the basketball season, I'm like, I'm going to pay attention to every single team. I'm going to watch them. I'm going to do all this research. I'm going to really study them out. And I'm going to, and so I'm going to go in and I'm going to pick my bracket so I can win. Right. And no one has ever, at least to my knowledge, maybe there's someone out there in the world that's actually picked like a perfect bracket. There's probably someone because you win $1 million, or I don't know if you have a perfect bracket. And I just always feel like I'm the person that's going to do that. Like I'm the one that's going to pick the perfect bracket for March Madness. And so how I kind of cheat, and it's not cheating, but it's like it's just this obsession with, well, I don't want to lose. So I pick multiple brackets. Right. And you just go, and then whatever one is working, that's my bracket. The rest of them can just, kind of go by the wayside. But my bracket, the one that I pick, is the one that I really want. The one that is winning that's my bracket. Right now, I've never done this. I've never gone through and just really studied and really paid attention to college basketball, like every conference, every team, just really dug deep into and done this analysis. And part of that reason is it just doesn't work. And it doesn't work because matchups are unique. The way the teams are playing at the time, some teams all of a sudden just show up in the tournament, and you can't predict that. And then there are other teams that just like underperform, and you can't predict that either. And so it's really hard because you're dealing with 18 to 22-year-old young men who, just have a funny mindset that it's beyond unpredictable. And there's this whole thing about, like, when you have you have the pressure of playing in a tournament, and it impacts people in different ways. Like some people choke, and some people don't, and some people just really rise to the occasion. Or one year this team kind of they underperform, and they get back again, and they come back with some vengeance. And that's just really hard. it's really hard to understand or to pick. Like it's a really tough thing to do. So here's how I do it. I just go off of instinct. I can't describe it any other way. Now we have the zone coach. So I do this in the zone, in kind of a zone type of way. And I believe, and I know this sounds a little bit like voodoo and like kind of like your mental and your psycho, but that's probably the best way to be when you're picking your bracket. Is you got to be a little psycho. You got to think a little outside the box. So part of understanding our minds is understanding that when we think thoughts, we send out messages. We send out, it's nonverbal communication. And when we have nonverbal communication, a lot of times our opponents pick up on it. So someone who was really good in their nonverbal communication was like Tiger Woods. So Tiger Woods would show up at a golf tournament, and his mind was, I'm here to kick everyone's butt. I'm just saying, I'm number one. You all fight for number two, because I'm going to win this thing. And his mind was just so full of, I'm better than you. I'm here to win. I will not lose. Bring it on. And you could sense that. Like, people just felt that. Like, and there was also this, I'm here to be the best player in the world. I'm here to do something that you've never seen done. I'm here to hit a golf ball different than anyone else. And he didn't say it, but he thought it. And in thinking it, people felt it. And he would literally walk on the first tee with like a 2 or 3 shot lead just because of this whole mindset, right? And I believe, and I know this sounds crazy, Martin, but I believe that these basketball teams are sending out those same messages. And if you just listen a little bit, you can hear who's confident and who's not. And so that's how I pick my brackets. Is if you just want to go hunch, I got a gut feeling, I have whatever. Now a lot of people say, yeah, go with your, it's like that's how that's how the psycho degenerate gambler who bets on horses all day. I got a hunch. Man, I got a feeling on this one. This one, we're gonna win big on this one. We're gonna, and I don't know if it works or it doesn't work, but I think it's in similar fashion, the way you kind of go, I like the colors of this team. I don't know. I like their logo. I like this. I like that. Whatever. And now I think there's also inherent in this is there's kind of a bias, right? Because you look at the seeding of these teams, and so often you go off of, well, we'll just pick the higher seed or whatever, and that's where like Duke playing, I guess it's Siena, that right?
Yeah, Siena.
Like that's not a hard one, right? I mean, yeah. Siena is not going to beat Duke, right? That's an easy one, but it's kind of when these seedings get closer, and there's always that lower seed in the early rounds that you go, this is a team that played pretty well this year, and yet they're playing a team with probably like from a bigger name conference or whatever, and those are the tougher ones, or you get into those second round games and third round games when these seedings kind of get closer and you're like, ooh, I don't know, this is going to be hard. And so that's when my telepathic gut feeling, listening to what these people are thinking theory comes into play. Now, I will just tell you, there have been, and I'm in total seriousness with this. I know people are out there going, is he kind of being for real here? And I'm saying, yes, I am. If I I've never explained this to anyone ever. I've just kind of done it. But this is my method. And there are years when I've nailed it. Like I have nailed it. Now there are other years when I don't. And when I don't nail my bracket, Martin, it's because I've overthought it. And I start second guessing myself. And so for me, it's that initial impression. Don't second guess yourself. Don't overthink this. Listen to what these players and coaches are thinking and make your picks. That's how I pick my bracket. And I don't pick one because I don't fully trust and believe what I've just told you. I I pick more than one because I can't lose. I don't want to lose. So I've picked, well, I guess, do you pick more than one bracket, Martin?
Uh, for a good portion, yeah, I got maybe like 2, 3 brackets made.
And why do you pick more brackets? Is it for that same reason?
Yeah, because you're always trying to be perfect with these type of events. You want to be that like you said, you want to be that one out of a million that said I got it right. Um, yeah, it's that little egotistical persona you want to wear once in a while.
See, this is how they told me to view NASCAR. Are you involved in NASCAR? Do you like it at all?
I love it.
Okay. So then maybe you'll understand this. I don't know, maybe not. Anyways, I went to the Daytona 500 the first time, long time ago, and I was with some serious NASCAR fans. They said, "Listen, you have to have two drivers. You have to be cheering for two drivers. And by the way, you have to cheer for someone, right? You got to have your guy. But the reason you have two is because there's a likelihood that one of them is going to crash. And so if you just have one guy and you're here at this awesome event and your guy's out, what the heck are you going to do? Like it's just like it's like watching a bunch of cars go around in a circle. That's boring. But when your guy is out, then I got another guy, and it's okay. So you have to have two guys. Am I not wrong on this?
No, you're not wrong at all. I've had that feeling before where like in the first 7 laps your favorite driver crashes and you're like, well, what was all that worth? And then
Yeah.
there are days where you watch your favorite driver dominate and win. And I've seen that before in person. It was pretty cool to watch those guys just absolutely go out and dominate and not give up anything at all. And this the reason why you stick around and watch it. I 100% agree. It's the
Yeah.
same thing with college basketball, with the sense that um, if you're like the diehards, if you're like Duke, Kansas, North Carolina, those teams, this is routine for you, right? But it's all the pressure of, did you get through the regular season to get to this point and show off? But other teams like North Dakota State or like High Point, it's just fun to have a week and a half off from school and to go play in a tournament and to have fun with these, type of events, right? And play against guys you never thought you would ever get a chance to play against.
Yeah.
So,
The event
yeah.
is incredible. Like it for so many people. I mean, so many schools, so many teams are involved. But from picking the bracket and watching it as a fan, like you have to have multiple brackets because otherwise you just, who wants to watch this? Now, back in the day, I'd love to watch it no matter what. So for me, the question is one of these four number one seeds, are they going to come through? And I
Uh,
guess the question is, of the four, who do you think actually of the four, who do you think is actually going to do it? So
looking
you got
at
Duke, you have Arizona, you have
yeah,
Michigan, and you have Florida.
yes.
So of those four teams, which one do you really believe one of those four teams will win a national championship?
Yes, and I
Okay.
believe it will be Duke. I think they're the better teams.
Ooh.
Yeah. Duke
Ooh.
or Arizona. Just solely based off of their talent. It's either Duke or Arizona. I think they're the standout 2 best teams in the country.
So I want to make sure I understand this right. So Duke and Florida cannot play each other in the national championship, right?
No, not this year. No.
And so Michigan, Arizona, see, because I kind of like Michigan and Arizona in the final. Do you think it's Duke and Arizona in the final? Is that what you think
I
it is, Martin?
I honestly believe so. I think there's a lot of good 2 seed teams or 3 seed teams in this tournament. I just consistency is one of the keys that if I wanted to be a little analytical about this, like that's one of the key things that I use when I pick my bracket is how consistent of a team are you? And Arizona and Duke to me are the most consistent teams in the country.
So if you want a vibe team for me, like this whole vibe thing that I'm talking about, do you know who my number one vibe team in the country is right now?
Which one?
Illinois.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. They're my vibe team. Yeah.
I like that pick. If I had to give one, I'm gonna go with a double seeded team. I think they can pull off 2 wins, Scott, and 2 wins. And I think it will be South Florida. I think they're a better team versus Louisville, and a South Florida Michigan State round of 32 games sounds really interesting to me. I think they could stick around and pull off an upset and make it to the Sweet 16.
You want another vibe team for me?
What's that?
I have 2 of them. I have 2 more.
Okay.
Iowa State and Houston.
Those are 2 good. That's good.
I know they're good teams, but they got, like, I'm just telling you, there's a good vibe.
I'll play off of that. I will go with. I'll pick St. Mary's because I think they're a fun team to see if they can pull off an upset versus Houston. And even though I don't like their football team, I can respect that their basketball team is good now. I think Alabama will be a quite good team in this tournament. I think getting past Hofstra will be easy for them, and having to play Texas Tech, I think, will not be a tough challenge for them. And they possibly could see Michigan, and I would love to see a Michigan-Alabama game.
All right. Well, this is going to be a lot of fun. We're going to cover this. We're going to pick our brackets. We're going to do this with all the folks on 365 Rogue Media. So we got a lot of people that will have a lot of fun and follow this all the way through and see kind of how we do and how we don't. So hope you enjoy picking your brackets. I hope that's helpful to people, or I hope you don't think you are freaking nuts, man. Which could be all of the above. I own all of it. All right. Hey, little excuse me. I apologize for my throat. It's been through the grinder, trying to figure out what's going on with my lungs. So I have some raspiness. Anyways, when we come back, we're going to take a break. But when we come back, Kyler Murray is now a Minnesota Viking, and there's some interesting things going on with that just the whole dynamic where a veteran guy is coming in with a young guy competing, but there's also some crazy memes out there kind of poking fun at Kyler Murray's lack of verticalness, and they're kind of funny. We're not going to do that, but Kyler Murray, Minnesota Vikings, so much more in the NFL going on. Oh yeah, there's tons of stuff. So yeah, a lot to talk about when the Down and Dirty returns here in just a moment.
The Pete Souza Show, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. You want to talk NFL draft? I don't know. How about we get you Todd McShay? You want to talk Big 12? We can get you the commissioner. Somebody about the Cowboys? How about we have on the owner, Stephen Jones? Pop culture? Michelle Beadle. I mean, we will bring on the people that you want to hear from. And these people don't join us because of me. They join us because of you. You got to watch this show, okay? It's got everything you need. Sports, hijinks, laughs. Did I mention hijinks? We'll see you on the Pete Souza Show. Now, we are under the 365 Sports umbrella. Check it out. I'm wearing a Tulane shirt. No idea why.
It's the Pete Souza Show. Sports, Pete.
Tervis is all about staying hydrated with style and durability. You can trust Tervis tumblers to keep your drinks the perfect temperature, hot or cold, for hours. From the classic insulated tumblers to sleek stainless steel water bottles, each product is built to last and comes in endless designs to match your personality. Stay refreshed and express yourself with Tervis. Visit tervis.com today and find your perfect tumbler.
Sports don't stop, and neither do we. Welcome to 365 Sports, your home for real conversations, original shows, and coverage that lives where sports actually happen. Join David Smoke, Craig Smoke, and myself, Paul Catalina, for in-depth interviews and local stories to the moments national media misses. 365 Sports brings you the voices, debates, and perspectives fans care about every single day. Subscribe now on YouTube, search 365 Sports, and never miss a moment because sports aren't seasonal. They're 365.
Hey, sports fans, welcome back. Down and Dirty. Scott Mitchell. So glad you could be a part of our show. Oh, boy, that first segment, listening to the thoughts of 18 to 22-year-olds, that's how I pick my brackets. It served me well as long as I didn't overthink it. But man, I'm just telling you, these thoughts these young people have, they're crazy. They're out there. So pick lots of brackets and hopefully you can win. And then you feel like you're a really smart person and your life will be better. So March Madness is striving to make you feel like you're a better, smarter, more meaningful individual in the world. And by winning, that's what winning solves all of the problems. It's like, no one has any issues in an organization when they win. But when they lose, everyone needs to go. All right. The Minnesota Vikings, Kyler Murray is now officially a part of their team. And, oh, man. First off, I was wondering over the weekend, I was like, has there ever been a situation where a player has kind of been the guy, right? And he's drafted, like a JJ McCarthy or even like a Michael Penix Jr. I mean, here you have the Atlanta Falcons who said, we're going to spend $190 million on Kirk Cousins. And then before Kirk Cousins ever hits the ground, now Kurt had been injured. But as soon as, he hadn't hit the ground yet, and they go and draft Michael Penix Jr. And part of me was like, what? That's weird. But you're like, and so it's like they wanted Michael Penix to be the guy, but they were kind of hoping that Kirk Cousins could kind of have the magic he'd had, whatever. And so anyways, really weird situation there. But these situations where you have these young quarterbacks you've drafted and they're getting into that gray area, that area of 3 years, and the team has to make a decision. They either they're going all in on the guy, and if they go all in, then they're going to pay Tua contract, right? So they did. They just were all in on Tua, and then they were all out, and they were just like, no, he's just not. His ceiling just wasn't high enough. Whatever, for whatever reason, it didn't work out. And and I think those are really tough decisions for teams, because you don't know, like, how long does it really take for these young quarterbacks to actually blossom and mature and reach their full potential. And the magic time is 3 years, and it's only that magic time because of the financial commitment with the contract. Like you're going to have to pay them, and then you're going to have to really be all in on these guys. And a lot of teams at that point go, yeah, we don't want to be all in. So Kyler Murray, gets the boot. Or well, really, Kyler Murray didn't get the boot. He got the boot after the second contract, and that one really sucked because everyone gets fired at that point. New coaches come in, new GMs come in, and so it's a really bad situation. So you're kind of betting the ranch of your job of your moving forward as a general manager, everything when you come into these situations, and so it's really hard. But over the weekend, I was thinking about how hard it is for a young guy like a JJ McCarthy or a Michael Penix Jr. to have a veteran around. And there's a there's a couple of reasons why I think it's really hard. One is like you just don't have the reserve of experience that these veteran guys have. Now, I remember a situation when I was in Detroit, and it was kind of like this, but it wasn't because he was just there. I signed there, and he signed there, so we were just kind of both signed with these teams. And it wasn't like okay, because it's my first year in Detroit. It wasn't like they're going, okay, we're going to give you this veteran guy to compete against you. They brought in a veteran guy in the event that you get injured or you just suck, right? But that guy knows he's not playing, and he even knows he's not competing. So for me, that situation was David Craig, and I remember, and David Craig to me, I think is one of the most fascinating guys who's ever played professional football. Like I just this guy came out of nowhere, played forever. I mean, he had a long, long, long career with a lot of teams, a lot of teams. Seattle, and he was in Kansas City, and he was in Detroit, and he was in Chicago, and he was in Phoenix, and he was all these different places. And if you were around him, like I didn't sit there and go, "Wow, this guy's amazing." Like I looked at him and goes, "Yeah." When we were in training, he was even saying that he goes, "I'm playing terrible. Like if I don't get my act together, I'm out of here." And I mean, I was around a guy named Dan Marino. Like Dan Marino looked good every day. Like you knew he would. And David Craig, not so much in training camp. So I get injured during the season, and in comes David Craig. And David Craig goes, "Look, I don't know your offense. I don't know all this stuff, but this is what I know, and this is what I feel comfortable with." And off he went, and I was blown away, quite frankly, because I didn't see any of that. But what I understood, and lo and behold, I actually saw some old footage of David Craig this past weekend. And David Craig had just oodles of experience. He just had game experience, and that's what propelled him when he came into Detroit because he didn't. I don't think he really knew our offense. And he certainly hadn't really had many reps by the time he gets in to play. And we're probably, I don't know, 10 games into the season when I got injured. So somewhere around there. And he pushes us through. We get into the playoffs. And I'm just like, I didn't see that. But what it was is he just had tremendous experience. And he was a gamer, and he was just a guy that just lit up during a game. And he continued to do that after he left Detroit. And maybe it wasn't Chicago. Maybe he ended up, I think he was in, anyways, doesn't matter. But the point is that these young quarterbacks, when they bring in a veteran like this, it's a kiss of death. You're done. Like it's not even a competition. It's they say that they want things to work out, whatever. You're done. Daniel Jones did it to Anthony Richardson, and it's going to happen again. And I was trying to think, and we talked about this before he even came on the air today, is like, has there ever been a situation where you've had a young, highly drafted quarterback and they bring in a veteran to kind of, push him and just see if we can get more out of him? And I can't think of one that happened in a positive. I mean, you look at Zach Wilson and they brought in Aaron Rodgers. And all of a sudden everyone just forgot about Zach Wilson. Like he's out, he's gone, he's done. Now, who knows what would have happened in New York had Aaron Rodgers not get injured. You might still see Zach Wilson with the Jets, and Zach Wilson might have all of a sudden absorbed a lot of understanding and knowledge about how to play in the NFL through Aaron Rodgers. But Aaron Rodgers got hurt, and it's a different situation. So I just this whole scenario about these veteran quarterbacks coming in and the team really believing that it's going to bump these young guys up is it's a fallacy. It's not going to happen. I don't believe it's ever happened. And I don't, and there's other factors. So you got this whole idea of, I have experience, right? So you've got the experience side of it. And then you have a guy like Kyler Murray or Tua, and they were kind of in similar situations. They were under the pressure and the gun, and so everything they did was massively scrutinized and probably overanalyzed, which isn't fair, but it's just kind of how it is. So now they're in a new situation, and they're in a different perspective from people. Like people like give them a pass. They don't. Daniel Jones could do no wrong with the Colts, but he couldn't do anything right with the Giants. And you just get a different lens that looks at you when you're this guy coming in. And then the other thing that happens is you have a situation where you have a guy that's comes in, and everyone else on the team reacts differently to him. So Peyton Manning goes to the Denver Broncos and replaces Tim Tebow. And all of a sudden, Eric Decker and all these guys are now, Pro Bowlers, and it's an incredible thing. And so the players don't care, they just want to win, and they just want someone to throw the freaking ball to them, and they're going to show up and do it every day. And so they come in, and you get the confidence of your teammates because you know what you're doing. And it just kind of changes that whole dynamic. So I really those kind of three lenses are, I think, almost an impossible thing for a young quarterback to overcome, because he doesn't have the experience. He doesn't really know what he's doing. He's looked at with a different lens, and it just makes it really difficult to even have a chance to succeed. It's almost an impossible situation. And I believe there's more to it as well, because these quarterbacks coming in like Tua and Kyler Murray, they're pissed. They're coming in, and they're going to be highly competitive, highly motivated. So you're going to get the very best version of them. And that new opening will be a really good thing to have happen. All right. Let's take a break here for a minute. We'll come back, and we got so much more to talk. I mean, some crazy stuff going on in the NFL and really in sports, and you won't want to miss it when the Down and Dirty returns.
Hey, it's Matt Mosley of The Matt Mosley Show. We want you to watch our show every day, 1 to 3 on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast. And you get to see big name guests like Gary Patterson, Art Briles, Scott Drew, Doug McNamee, major Cowboys insiders, ESPN legends like Sal Palantonio. When news breaks on Cowboys or Baylor or NFL, we want you to look here first. 1 to 3 weekdays. It's the Matt Mosley Show.
For 75 years, Nalgene Outdoor has been your trusted companion, fueling adventures and helping protect the planet. We're committed to reducing waste, improving access to clean water, and providing simple, safe, and sustainable products for you and your family. No gimmicks, just durable, well-designed bottles built to last. Join us in our mission to amplify life, not complicate it. Because at Nalgene, what goes into our bottles matters as much as the adventures they fuel. Explore more at nalgene.com. That's NALGENE.com.
I know you're gonna love this Kodak Dot Plus printer. You guys just connect it to your smartphone and then you're gonna use the Kodak Photo Print app. It's going to print you a 4x6 photo. I am just in awe. I love how these turned out. Also, the printer comes with a free cartridge of 10 photo sheets. I can assure you, you are going to love this printer as much as my family has. You guys have to check it out for yourself.
Hey, it's Zach Gelb. We're talking NFL and college football. Plus, we have some of the biggest interviews in sports media. You got to check out the Zach Gelb Show right here on 365 Sports, weekdays, 2 to 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 to 3 p.m. Central. And make sure you subscribe to my channel, youtube.com/@Zach Gelb Show.
Hey, sports fans, welcome back. Down and Dirty, Scott Mitchell. So glad you could be a part of our day. Really appreciate it. There's some crazy stuff happening in the world of sports and in the world in general that impacts sports. So, of course, we were talking about these young quarterbacks and how these veterans come in and just kind of pop the air out of the bubble. And, yeah, it's kiss of death when you're a young quarterback and they bring in a veteran. Your days are numbered. Okay. We're going to continue with some of the NFL news. And this one actually really caught my eye. And this one to me was it's a real thing. And so the state of Washington, so you have your reigning Super Bowl champions, the Seattle Seahawks, and of course they've got a great fan base. Great sports city, love their Mariners. Maybe they might get a basketball team. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But there's a new law that goes into effect in Seattle, or really Washington in general. And it's basically adding a tax to people who are millionaires. So it's this millionaire tax. Now, there's been a lot of speculation. It was brought up after the Super Bowl and how what a player makes during the playoffs, during the Super Bowl. And, of course, the Super Bowl is played in California. And a lot of these players probably ended up paying money to go win a Super Bowl. Now, the player goes, hey, I'm okay with that in the short term because, I won a Super Bowl, right? Or I haven't even played the Super Bowl. It's that would be kind of the sucky thing is if you actually went to the Super Bowl, lost the Super Bowl, had to pay all these ridiculous taxes, these millionaire taxes, these jock taxes, all this stuff, and then you're paying money to go lose a Super Bowl. You'd still go, like you would, and you say, and you'd go because at the end of the day, you're making a whole bunch of money anyway, so it doesn't matter. But this does matter. And it matters a lot for the Seattle Seahawks because when they're dealing with free agency and a player goes and you're going to play, we can pay you this, but you're going to pay whatever 3, or I don't know. I think the tax is somewhere. I think it's like 5, 7. It's whatever it is off of a person who, it's almost a 10% tax. So just call it 10%. So essentially, if you're religious at all, you're going to be paying tithing to the state of Washington. Your 10% tithing, it's in the Bible, 10% tithing to the state of Washington just to play there. And 10%, of $40 million is like $4 million, right? It's, if it's $100 million, it's $10 million. It's not chump change. It's a significant amount of money. And then, you have to ask yourself as a player, because I will tell you, when I played for the Miami Dolphins, there was no state income tax. And there's a lot of places, Texas, there's places that you can work and play, and it's a real thing. I mean, businesses are fleeing these states that are now having this millionaire tax. I'll just tell you, one of the scariest places I think in the world from an economic place is New York City, to play there. Imagine you play for the Jets, who stink already. And the only redeeming thing you can have as a player is that they're paying you, and they're paying you a decent amount of money. And then they throw in the city of New York tax and the state of New York, and they do the jock tax. They do this new millionaire tax the wealthy thing. And as a player, you go, I'm not going to those cities. I don't want to go to Seattle. And other teams are going to say, do you really want to go to Seattle? Let's just talk about the economics of this and what it actually means to you every single year that you go play there. Now, and it's real money in your pocket today. And you say to yourself as a player, I'm $4 million richer. And I just threw out the $40 million contract. And, a lot of these players, making anywhere from $20 to $60 million a year as a player, and 10% of that goes away off the top before anything else, because instead of like it being half, right? We've had this economic discussion about what really matters between agent fees, taxes, all this stuff. You're 50% of your income you bring home as an NFL player. So you make $1 million, you're going to bring home $500,000. And now you live in the state of Washington, you're going to bring home $400,000. And the agents are going to go, why am I going to send my guy to the Seahawks? I'm not doing it. Like unless it's just a cherry primo position, or you don't have any other position. But I think it's a real, I don't want to say flaw, but it's a real negative point. It's something that certainly could be used as leverage against the Seattle Seahawks when they're competing in free agency. And the draft is a different thing, but if you're trying to go out and sign free agents, it's an uphill battle. It's a real battle. It's a real thing. And it's something that players, if they have half a brain, would seriously consider it. Now you go, well, this team won the Super Bowl, and you're like, you could go be a part of that. But players go, yeah, I can also go to another place, and I think they're going to be a good team. I think I can help them out. How excited, how energized, how motivated are those players wanting to go play in these bigger marketplaces? Because in the past, it's been something they've wanted to do, because you get more exposure, you have more interest, and now they might consider and think about something else. All right, speaking of because it's kind of something happening in California, of course, the Bay Area. Trey Lance, who, Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch, I think, about fell out of their seat trying to draft a few years ago. We've got our guy, like, he is the dude, and Trey Lance has been anything but the dude. And he actually signed a 1-year contract with the Los Angeles Chargers. And this is a guy who's barely played. Like, he's not played very well. A lot of people have kind of been picking him up over the past few years as kind of the walk of shame. The quarterback who's drafted early and then just keeps signing with these teams and ultimately just signs his way out of the league and never plays, but highly thought of, highly sought after, and just makes a really, really quick exit out of the NFL. And Trey Lance is still on that walk, which I think is surprising to people. And you have to wonder, though, with the resurgence of some of these, Sam Darnold, of course, wins a Super Bowl. It's essentially a project. Now, he signed with the Chargers, who have Justin Herbert, so it's not like they're in anywhere close to any need of a quarterback. Same thing, he signed with the Dallas Cowboys and Dak Prescott, and played a little bit, but not much. But it's the project thing, right? And so he's now, and I bring this up because it's $6.7 million as a project, and I wouldn't even say, because a lot of times the backup quarterback is kind of that emergency guy, and of course, famously, Tom Moore told everyone what everyone thinks about backup quarterbacks, and basically we're effed if the backup has to play. And so but the guy gets $6.7 million for 1 year to go and be a project, I guess. Hopefully develop into something. Hopefully, Jim Harbaugh can work some magic. Justin Herbert kind of puts, who knows? But apparently there's something in that. Now, speaking of that happening, the Jets traded Justin Field to the Chiefs. This is like just happened. And so it's kind of that similar type of thing. And of course, Justin Field has a $10 million contract, but the Jets are paying part of that contract. That's an interesting move. That might be one of the more interesting moves in the NFL, because when you talk about a project and you talk about a team with Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, if you're Justin Field, you're doing cartwheels right now. You're just like, because even Patrick Mahomes is still kind of iffy and questionable about where he's going to be next year. But that pick right there for Justin Fields, that's a nice one. That's really nice. All right. We're going to take another break. We come back. We've got some crazy hot headlines going on in the world of sports that we'll get to right around the corner when the Down and Dirty returns.
Hi, my name is Mike Lacey. I'm with Beyond the Game, a new podcast to the Rogue Media Network. Just when you thought you'd had a little bit too much about BYU, here we are to provide you even a little bit more. I, as part of the BYU group, am grateful that we're part of the Big 12 and really grateful that we're part of the Rogue Media Network. Thank you.
Circulon C1 Series Clad with Scratch Defense Non-Stick. The luxury and confidence of premium clad stainless steel meets Scratch Defense Extreme Non-Stick that won't scratch, ever. With an ultra-thick aluminum core for high-performance heating. Maximize cooking, minimize cleaning. Discover the unmatched durability and elegance of clad stainless steel. Scratch-free, worry-free, forever.
Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. Whether at home or on the go, NordVPN ensures your digital freedom. Stay secure. Download NordVPN today at nordvpn.com. That's NORDVPN.com.
Are you looking for top-shelf sports talk about the West Virginia Mountaineers, where you can get objective analysis, but with the passion of a fan? Well, look no further than right here at Couz's Corner. I am Justin Couz Walker, the host of Couz's Corner, and you can find my show on demand over at YouTube. Most shows are uploaded by 5 p.m. Eastern Time. You can also check out my live post-game reaction shows. My special guest interviews, you can find it all on YouTube at Couz's Corner. Go check it out.
Hey, sports fans, welcome back. Down and Dirty, Scott Mitchell. So glad you could be a part of our show today. Got some hot headlines for you, of course. Also coming up, we're going to talk about who we think the top 10 quarterbacks are right now in the NFL. And I got thinking too about like general managers, and there's some really tough decisions that you have to make as a general manager. I mean, they're kind of like career ending or career, making decisions, and it's just so hard to know if you're right. It almost literally feels like you're playing Russian roulette, and just hope it all works out for you, because there's just no way to predict so many of these things. All right. But there are some crazy things going on in the world of sports. And I want to start with Team USA. So, World Baseball Classic, of course, Team USA is playing the Dominican Republic, the DR. And a lot of people feel like the DR is the best team in like all of baseball, loaded with a lot of talent. They, of course, win their game against the DR and advance to the actual finals, where they'll play Venezuela, which is kind of an exciting thing. Great way to kind of wrap up spring training. Love the World Baseball Classic. It just kind of feels like to me that Team USA is, I don't know, it feels like it's their year. I think beating the DR was, of course, it was somewhat controversial, but it is what it is. And there's a good vibe in the air. There's a gleam in their eye, as Marty Schottenheimer used to say, a gleam. There's a gleam in their eye, which I don't even think is a gleam. There's a gleam in their eye. There's a gleam in their eye, which I'm not even sure is a word. Can you look up gleam, Martin, and see if it's actually a word? I'm just curious. I don't know if it is or it isn't. But anyways, Team USA has a gleam in their eye, and they're going to play Venezuela for the WBC championship, which is, I believe, on Tuesday. So that's it. I don't know. I don't know why that's exciting to me, but it's just exciting. We're just all tingly here. And I think what it is, and it's a really good reminder that we just like when you're competitive. Like if you're going to play sports, compete. Like give us your best effort. We don't care what it is. We don't care the meaning behind any of it. We don't care, but the laissez-faire attitude and the kind of casualness, the we're too good for this. This is beneath us. I'm going to protect myself kind of thing. And we just don't want to see that. We want to see tough. We want to see grit. We want to see Cal Raleigh not shake the hand of his teammate. We're not teammates today. That's what we want to see. And that's why we cheer. And that's why it's exciting to us. And it doesn't matter what the sport is. We want that. Okay, speaking of great wins. Now, Cam Young wins the Players' Championship. Of course, he birdies 17. Now, if you know anything about the Players' Championship, it's played at the TPC at Sawgrass in St. Augustine, Florida. It's kind of the headquarters. It's the players' event. A lot of people feel like it should be the fifth major. And a lot of the golfers are these purists. They're like 4. We only need 4. We don't need 5. But 5, fits. You have one in March, April, May, June, and July. And that's what we want. And so they adjusted the schedule. There's not one in March. And I think this is a perfect thing. I don't know why they don't want it as a major, because I really think it should be. Here's why. It's the end of the course. It's the last 3 holes. So 16 long par 5. And of course, water comes into play as you approach the green. And it's one of those risk reward holes where you literally could go eagle, birdie on the last 3 holes and come from nowhere and win the tournament. Or you could go, it could be a total disaster for you. Because 17 is the island green, which is, I think, probably one of the more, probably top 5 most famous holes in professional golf that they play. you could pick 12, at Augusta. I mean, but the Island Green, that finish right there, and it kind of it makes this little horseshoe, and it's compelling because you see the approach to 16, you see the whole green at 17, you see the tee at 18, which has water all the way down the left on 18, and so that course and that setting is amazing. And Cam Young, of course, he birdied 17. Now, 17 to me, I played this course multiple times before, and it's awesome. And that setting is awesome to play. But yet, when I played 17, the Island Green, I was like, well, this isn't really that hard. And the reason it's not really that hard is because it's a wedge. It's like it's not a long shot at all. And it's almost like you should never. And a lot of players miss this hole. Now it's got a treacherous green. It really falls off where they put the pin, especially on the Sunday pin, because if you go at the pin, there's no margin of error to the right. Like you're in the water, so you miss it at all. And then if you miss to the left, you're kind of up on top, and you have to putt down. And I'm just such a fan of this event, and I love this finish of how it finishes off. And he won like $4.5 million as the winner, which these purses in the PGA Tour have really gone up significantly. Of course, the Live Tour certainly drove a lot of that, and there's certainly more for the players. And I'm sad still because Bryson DeChambeau, who I really enjoy watching, he won, and no one knows, and I don't think anyone cares. I mean, you really have to dig deep. You really have to be a fan of golf, but I'm not a fan of live golf only because you just don't see it, and it does seem a little tricked up. So, I don't know, but anyways, winning the Players Championship is a big deal. It's something that you certainly, you have to tip your cap to. And I mean, it's the players, so they all show up, and they all play. It's a great test. It's a great course, and I think it should be a major. And there you go, and there you have it. Okay, this is something I think that was a little shocking to me, a little surprising. That's happening in the NBA. And that is that they're having a vote on expanding to Las Vegas and Seattle. It's not even hey, should we expand? It's like they have specific cities in mind of where to expand. Unlike baseball kind of leaves you in the dark. And they're like, we're going to expand within this time frame. And then we kind of have a bunch of cities kind of vying for a position to be a part of our expansion. NBA just goes Las Vegas and Seattle. Now, if Las Vegas, and I think part of the NBA is, having 32 teams, it makes the breakdown a little bit easier. As far as, when you have 16, it's just easier to do bracketing and do all that stuff. They believe that Minnesota and Memphis would move to the east. Of course, Seattle, Las Vegas would be in the west. And I saw this, and there's a lot of very interesting parts about this. One is, where in the heck did Las Vegas come from? Like, where in the world did we decide that Las Vegas was like now this major sports hub in the U.S.? They have the Raiders who have moved there. Of course, Oakland, the A's are building a stadium there. They have the Golden Knights, who've been a huge success. They have the Las Vegas Aces, who have won 3 WNBA titles. It's like, and the Golden Knights were immediately a success when they got there. And you're scratching your, because like Las Vegas has a metropolitan area similar to Salt Lake City. Like it's not very different, but there's been a huge influx of economic impact in these sports leagues that have actually brought in these other teams. So I know Salt Lake City is pretty locked in to get a baseball team. And that's going to happen, within the next 2 or 3 years. But professional football, it's quite shocking. Now, I think Las Vegas, I think Salt Lake are very similar in that you've got these great fan base. I mean, man, people love the Utah Jazz. They got and they've never won a championship, but they got a huge fan base there. This Mammoth, Utah Mammoth, massive fan base. People are excited. Looks like the Mammoth are going to make the playoffs this year. So you're seeing a lot of success. I believe baseball would be the same way. AAA baseball in Salt Lake with the Bees has been well attended, and I think Major League Baseball would be the same thing in the event that it's brought to the city. But this whole idea of this expansion, now you have to wonder these, brought up this millionaire tax and what kind of impact that has on Seattle in the future. But the NBA is seeing the value of these franchises and its league actually trending upwards significantly. I didn't realize this as I was reading through this, but the Lakers, when they sold for $10 billion, that was the highest amount any sports franchise has ever sold for. And it's just like, wow. Speaking of the Lakers, there was another thing that I thought was interesting. I was kind of looking through kind of the standings of the NBA and kind of where teams are and how it's shaking. It's fascinating that the Detroit Pistons are now leading the East in basketball, and you're just like, wow, okay, that is very interesting. Now, will they stay there and will they win it all? Remains to be seen, but there's certainly a lot of teams lurking, and the West, has got a lot of really good teams as always. But the one thing that I noticed, and I always notice, is the Lakers, and with LeBron, they're just kind of always in it. You don't see this team trying to lose. It's like, we got LeBron, and we're going to ride that horse, and we're going to try to be as competitive as we possibly can be. And figure this thing out as much as we possibly can while he's still around. They make the Luka trade, they do all these other things, but the whole time LeBron has been with the Lakers, they've just been trying as hard as they can to be competitive and to win. And you see a lot of these teams that are, they don't want to be competitive. They don't want to be good enough not to be bad. And of course, they don't have LeBron on their team, but as long as he's there, it's just kind of one of those things. But back to this whole NBA expansion thing, and of course, Seattle had the Supersonics, and that was a travesty when they left. It is a great sports town. I'm sure those fans will be over the moon about landing an NBA team, and then so the NBA goes, we are expanding. We see the value in our product going to a bigger space. Now, the other thing that they mentioned is having a league in Europe. And you talk about the NFL moving to Europe, but man, how cool would that be? I just think these sports that we have in the US, and really sports in the US that become kind of global, I just love the thought of this. I mean, I love the thought. I don't know. I don't know why I do, but I just love the thought of teams and leagues moving over across the world. And I know what it is. It's because we see all these other sports. When we had our cricket guy on, which I thought was very interesting. We had this, because there's a massive fan interest around the world for these other sports, and we love our sports here. And of course, basketball is big. A lot of players in the NBA come from Europe, but could you imagine really what it does is goes back to what I said at the beginning of this segment, and that is we want to see the highest level of competition. You don't want to be the American part of the NBA and lose to the European part of the NBA. And I would imagine that if they do expand over to these other places, that potentially maybe they have to have a certain number of their players, kind of like the CFL. I don't know how they would do it. Maybe they just do it like they do the NBA if it's just part of the NBA. But it's like like we want to chase the globe for the very best playing at their very best. And we're so kind of, we got it figured out in the US as far as sports go. And I think in a lot of ways we do. I think there's a lot of opportunities here in the US that maybe there aren't in other places. So I really like, I love that the NBA is actually expanding. Okay. We're going to take a break. We come back. We got, who are the top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL right now? And why is that the case? Stick around. More to come on the Down and Dirty.
If you want a Boston sports show that's going to insult you as a fan and only cares about getting back at their old hosts or who Bill Belichick is dating, then keep tuning your radio. But if you want a sports show that's wicked good, wicked smart, wicked passionate, then you need the Wicked Boston Show with me, Cam Stewart. It is the only Boston sports talk show that is by the fans and for the fans. One voice in this city where the only BS is Boston sports. The Wicked Boston Show.
You probably get unwanted emails almost every single day.
Overwhelmed by your inbox? Clean Email is here to help. Organize, clean, and manage your emails with powerful automation tools. Say goodbye to spam and clutter and enjoy a stress-free inbox. Try Clean Email today at cleanemail.com. That's CLEAN email.com. Get paid faster with Bill, the easiest way to send, receive, and manage your payments. No more delays, no more hassle. Whether you're a freelancer or a business, Bill makes payments seamless and secure, simple, fast, and reliable. Sign up today at Bill.com.
Hey, sports fans, welcome back. Down and Dirty. Scott Mitchell. So glad you could be a part of our show today. Martin threw me a curveball. Well, actually, was it the curveball or was it the heater? Throw him the heater, Ricky. Anyway, he threw this at me. Who are the top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL right now as we speak? Okay, so this is a kind of, I thought it would be easy. I thought it'd be obvious. And then as I thought more about it, I'm like, wait a minute, this is kind of because it's like take Joe Burrow, for example. Everyone says Joe Burrow, amazing, incredible talent. But he's been injured. Like he hasn't been able to kind of get through a full season. It's almost like he's been on a hangover from his Super Bowl appearance for a tremendous amount of time. And you kind of, you could say that even about Jalen Hurts. Like, Jalen Hurts was really good the year that he went to the Super Bowl, but there was kind of before the Super Bowl, and then there was kind of after the Super Bowl, and you're like, is he one of the top 10 quarterbacks, or is he on a really good team and he just doesn't screw it up for that team? The kind of thing. Or you get a guy like Jared Goff who really looked like he was taking off some places, and you could argue, he's there. Lamar Jackson, even the same thing. Everyone's like Lamar Jackson, tremendous talent. He's all these things. So it's kind of one of those things where you go, is it like right at this moment type of thing? And I think that was the question, right now moment, and kind of why. And I think when you look at it right now, not so much history or perspective, like Aaron Rodgers. Like, is Aaron Rodgers one of the top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL right now, right in this moment, or is he started to be looked at as kind of historically or over time. Like today, if he comes back to the Pittsburgh Steelers, is he gonna deliver? And I believe that's your question, right? Is that fair to say? Not
Yes, it
necessarily
is.
who we like, but who really are the guys in the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. You hit it right on the head.
And so I think it's a little hard to say, even because so many guys are injured. Like the first person I want to say is Patrick Mahomes. And Patrick Mahomes, it felt like a little bit of an off year. It feels like it's been a little bit off for Patrick Mahomes kind of since their Super Bowl letdown. And so Patrick Mahomes is healthy and all things are working in Kansas City. I don't think he's a guy you bet against. So the question, I'm still going to put Patrick Mahomes at number one. I just really think that he's kind of that guy. But I'll tell you who I'm going to put at number two, and that's Matthew Stafford. Well, let's just talk about Patrick Mahomes for just a second. So Patrick Mahomes does things no one else does, and it's just throwing the football. But I also think it's this kind of drive to win and to excel. And you put Patrick Mahomes with that mindset, that talent in with Andy Reid, it's deadly. Like it's hard to beat. And even with lesser, offensive line, maybe some lesser talent from the skill position, still hard to beat. Okay, so he's my number one. Matthew Stafford, there's something about him that he just keeps playing. He keeps it's almost like he's gotten to that point where he feels to me like Aaron Rodgers was 5 or 6 years ago. Like he's just his mind is just where it absolutely needs to be, and his physical attributes are just off the charts. Like you talk about how Patrick Mahomes throws the football. I'm not sure Matthew Stafford is really that far below it. And he's always been there. I think the thing to me that's always been the most impressive about Matthew Stafford is he just has a hose, just throws the ball so nicely. And he's always been that way. And it's a lot like, you watch like Dan Marino throw. There's just a beauty. There's artistry too. And Matthew Stafford to me is like that. And so I put him at number two. I think the Rams are very competitive. I think they're very close to winning a Super Bowl. They're just really close. Now, can he stay healthy? But he is healthy, and he was healthy. And so kind of like right now, I love the thought of going into a football season with Matthew Stafford as my quarterback. I absolutely do. Number three, I'm going to put. Oh man, see, to me, I'm going to put Josh Allen, simply because Josh Allen has been extremely consistent, got his team into the playoffs, for umpteen years. It just oozes with talent. He can beat you in a lot of ways. But there has, the thing that makes him is the thing that breaks him. His ability to be Superman and run around is the thing that was his demise, where he turned the ball over and in a costly situation on multiple occasions in Denver. Josh Allen takes care of the football in those situations. That game might have a different outcome to it, but he certainly is a guy that just oozes with talent. Okay, so any shock so far, Martin? You like what I'm picking here? You have some disagreement so far?
Patrick Mahomes to me is obviously the number one quarterback in the NFL. I don't blame the slowing down of the Kansas City Chiefs offense for like the last 3 seasons. It just hasn't felt like what that 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020 run when they were putting up 30 points a game. But still, he's the best quarterback in the NFL. It's still Patrick Mahomes. One, I'm going to disagree with 2 and 3. I respect giving Matt Stafford the credit. Obviously, this past season winning the MVP, the numbers that he put up, the consistency that Matt Stafford has played his entire NFL career. The dude has played hurt, the dude has played healthy, and he has proven that he is still a winner. However, I believe Josh Allen's the second best quarterback in the NFL. The MVP stands alone on itself. I think it was a better MVP season than Matt Stafford's. And I think Allen, at the end of the day, is right there behind Patrick Mahomes. Obviously, the championships don't say it. Others would go off of that. But I think talent per talent, I think Josh Allen's as close as we're going to get to someone else being in that caliber of Patrick Mahomes. So I would put Allen 2 and then I put Stafford 3.
Oh, you don't agree with me. I don't know how I feel about that. Nah, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I mean, you can't argue with now number 4. Oh man, number 4 is a tough one to me because I really like the maturation of, like, if you if you're looking at these players like stocks, right? And you look at like you go like Patrick Mahomes right now, I think is kind of flat. Like it's well, let's just kind of see what happens. Stafford's kind of flat because he's older. Josh Allen is volatile, right? He can go up and down and all around. And so you have someone like Lamar Jackson. You feel like Lamar, is kind of trending maybe downward. And so, because Lamar Jackson, massive talent, right? But never really got it done in the playoffs. And so it's hard. But he's such a unique talent. I mean, I all of these top 4 guys, I'm gonna keep Jackson at 4. And part of it is I want to see what happens with a new regime in Baltimore, and I want to see if they can kind of jump Lamar Jackson's status to a different level. Like, can he get excited? Because Lamar Jackson to me seems uninspired right now. He seems a little temperamental. He doesn't, and you start hearing some of the comments, when Harbaugh left, that like the coordinator didn't get it out of Lamar and didn't communicate well and so there's something there. And so we'll see, but it feels like Lamar Jackson might be trending downward. Now, Justin Herbert, who I have at 5, is a guy that I feel like is trending in the opposite. I feel like he's trending up. And so I was really debating between 4 and 5 with Justin Herbert and Lamar Jackson, simply because it's kind of where they're trending. Because your question was right now. And Justin Herbert, I picked the Chargers to go to the Super Bowl last year, and and part of it was because of Justin Herbert. Part of it was because of the defense. I just felt like they were a really complete team at the time, and they were just decimated by injuries, and it really hurt. So we'll see where it goes this year. I still think it's trending upward, and I think the Chargers going to be right in the mix again with Justin Herbert. Okay, so what do you think about Lamar Jackson and Justin Herbert?
I actually don't disagree with that if we're considering it this very moment. As I asked in the question, I actually agree with everything you said there. I think the upwardness of Justin Herbert and being in a structure now legitimately has a head coach. Jim Harbaugh is, as mature of a head coach, a veteran head coach you can get these days in the NFL. Herbert has gotten a lot better. It's just that, lingering playoff win, that lingering playoff run that has him still being in the bottom part of the top 5. I think I think he's got a case to being 3 or 4, and I think this is a fair spot to put him at 5. Lamar, I agree with you on that end too. The trajectory is going downwards, and I think something we don't talk about with Lamar, Scott, is he's 29 years old this season. He's going to be 30 in a season after that. Like, how much longer can his legs give him the ability to escape and play the way he likes to play before he has to switch in and try to be a standard statue quarterback. So I think you got it right at 4 and 5.
Okay, number 6, and this is a tough one because I actually think he's better than this. I really do. I think this guy could be at the top of the charts, but I just, he plays in Cincinnati. It's Joe Burrow. He's been injured, and they're just something amiss. Like I don't know what it is. Whether he can get through a season, whether he's happy where he is. A lot of people are like, man, we're wasting the talent of Joe Burrow in Cincinnati, and he's got people around him. It's like, but they did get to that Super Bowl, very impressive. There's a lot of people who think, he might be 2. But I just think right now, he's right where he is. Again, if you drew an arrow on a guy, I think Joe Burrow is trending up because because you just can't keep getting hurt every year. It's just like the football gods eventually will be on your side, and if Joe Burrow can make it through a season healthy, play the whole season, I think he's a really, really tough guy to actually get out. So what do you think about Joe Burrow?
I think Joe Burrow right at 6 is the right number. I think you got it right. Let's see if he has a full season this coming season, man. I think the Bengals were robbed of at least of a playoff appearance last season if he doesn't get hurt in week 3. So, yeah, I think 6 is right.
Okay, now it gets interesting, and I'm putting names in, and I'm talking about right now, and I'm talking about trending arrows and where they are. So I have at 7. Bo Nix. And I'm sure that's a shock for a lot of people. But look what Bo Nix has done the first 2 years he's been in the NFL. Like, he's gotten to the playoffs. I think you might argue, had he been healthy for that last game, you might see the Denver Broncos in the Super Bowl. And that game was certainly winnable for Denver. It could have gone either way. And the guy that's kind of been making it happen for you all year long I really believe would have done that. He's with Sean Payton. He couldn't be in a more ideal situation. Denver is out of cap prison now. They're gonna certainly be a better football team moving forward, and they know what they have to do to get moving forward. And I think it's a little underrated. I think a lot of people, maybe doesn't have the strongest arm. He doesn't have it. Who knows? They're winning in spite of him, type of thing. But he's making the plays. And I just think he's going to continue to get better and better and better and better and better. So he's my guy there, I believe, at 7. So Bo Nix, shock you? What do you think about that one?
You know what? I think that's very fair, considering that I think Sean Payton found a Drew Brees 2.0. I don't think Sean Payton's offense has ever needed someone with an 80-yard gunslinging type attitude. I think he's always looked for quarterbacks that are very smart, intelligent, know how to read a playbook, know how to communicate. And Bo Nix does that on a consistent level. I think this is respectful. He got his team to the playoffs in back-to-back years. He's won a division. I mean, yeah, he's right up there with the top 10 guys.
Yeah, it's hard. You think about some of these names, I don't have Jalen Hurts in my top 10.
Ooh,
just to throw that out at you. And maybe I should, but I don't know. I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling it. And
I'm right there with you. I don't think he is a top 10 quarterback.
No. Now here's one that's going to throw you. And again, I think part of it's where he's playing. But that's Trevor Lawrence. This guy is a former, top pick in the draft. He's weathered through the storms of some inconsistency early on, and he's won playoff games. He won playoff games last year. He's with Liam Cohen, who seems to be a little bit of a quarterback whisperer, and he seems to be whispering the right things into Trevor Lawrence's ear, and certainly responding. I think Jacksonville's a team that's going to be on the move and make some noise going forward. And I think a lot of it is because Trevor Lawrence, and he's certainly talented, and you're certainly starting to see some of that talent. And for a guy to get his to kind of, and he's flying way under the radar. Like, you go to Jacksonville and they didn't even know there's an NFL team in Jacksonville. So, but I really think he's a guy that's worthy of being in the top 10. There you have it. I said it.
Actually, you got another good one here. I agree with this because solely based on last season, 14 wins, division title. I think he had career highs in numbers this year as well. He looked like he was having fun, Scott. And I think that's like the thing that we've talked about before with you and me is he doesn't look like he was having fun. And now that he's having fun, now he's a little more excited. Now he's got a rejuvenation at why it's fun to be an NFL quarterback and got a really good head coach. Yeah, I put Trevor Lawrence in the top 10 solely based on last season. Solid numbers, 14 wins. That's what you need out of a franchise QB.
So at this point, 8 and 9 or 9 and 10, that's an interesting place to be. And it is because there's a whole slew of guys that you could argue could be there. You could argue for them being there. I believe if you were to ask me at the end of next year what this list looks like, I guarantee you it'll be different. And I think some of the people that I'm going to mention here are part of what will make this different. Like, I'll give you an example. Sam Darnold. Like, Sam Darnold's not my top 10. And I don't know why he isn't, actually. Probably should be. Maybe I'll put him at 10. But a lot of people are going to say, well, he didn't really have a great year. No, he didn't, but he did win a Super Bowl. And on the year that he was really good and they won 14 games, he didn't win in the playoffs. And but the point is that he's shown consistently an ability to win. And he's now figured out how to win in the playoffs and win a Super Bowl. And that's massively valuable. The Seattle Seahawks are in no big hurry to get rid of Sam Darnold at this point. Now we'll see how it is moving forward. But then there's a guy like Jalen Daniels. Like, Jalen Daniels, just we don't know where he is because he got injured this year. But he was playing up there in top 5 level of play his rookie year in the NFL. I mean, he was doing things a rookie's never done, and that's win. So in the playoffs, and so does he come back? Is it just that he was injured a year ago? And then you have like Caleb Williams, Caleb Williams is a top 5 talent. Like, Caleb Williams might be a top 2 talent. Like, he can throw the football in a lot of ways, like Patrick Mahomes, but there's certainly been kind of some ups and downs and inconsistency. So what does year 2 look like with Ben Johnson? And if it takes off in year 2 and you just go, man, he's figured it out. Like the wild Mustang has been broken, and man, watch this horse run. And that's really what Caleb Williams could be. And and I think several of these players who aren't even on this list, Drake May, where is his, because he was really good. And then you have someone like Aaron Rodgers, who has been so consistently good for so long. He's going to be looked at as one of the all-time greats. And is there still enough gas left in the tank for him? And then you have a guy like Daniel Jones, who started to show something before he got injured. So there's a whole clump of players, and Jalen Hurts is in that mix. And you have so for me, I left all those guys off, and they're just kind of clumped together. They're not ranked as here's higher, lower, whatever. They're guys that could just obliterate this whole list next year if they have success. And so we'll see what happens. So for me, at number 9, I had Dak Prescott, and he's a guy. It's hard to be the Cowboys. He's been very prolific, not very prolific in the playoffs. but I just saw something different with Brian Schottenheimer as the coach, and I thought Dak played at an extremely high level, and might see more of that moving forward. And then so what's your thoughts? Well, I've said a whole lot here about this whole clump of players. Give me your thoughts on the players and Dak Prescott at number 9.
First of all, I can't not say I won't tempt myself to start with Caleb Williams. I appreciate that that there hopefully, he is a top 2 quarterback, a top 5 quarterback. We'll see what happens. I agree with you. If he's broken in and he understands how to actually function through that offense, I can see it. The touch on Dak Prescott, I completely respect that as well. He has proven that he is an NFL talented quarterback. He has won division titles with the Cowboys last season. Phenomenal season with Brian Schottenheimer. It looked like a rejuvenated Cowboys offense. They just need a defense now, and they could win games, and I believe in that. Sam Darnold, yeah, it's been impressive what he's done, and I don't think I keep him outside the top 10. Yes, he got the Super Bowl, but I don't think he had the most stellar stats-wise season. I think that got to be a little hindered. Daniel Jones, if he wasn't injured, he probably would have been the Sam Darnold of the season. He was on that trajectory. They only had 1 loss through 8 games, and then they just had a downhill after that. I think Jalen Hurts is interesting. Do you credit the Super Bowl as an impressive way to win? I don't know. That's, based on the fans themselves. But, I don't disagree with 9. I think Dak Prescott deserves to be right there with the top 10.
Okay, so 10 was hard. Like I think there's a lot of guys you can put in here. And I'm just going sentimental because I've been there, done that. And that's Jared Goff. And if you're a Detroit Lions quarterback, and you just deserve to be in the top 10. So I homered it, but I think Jared has certainly done a very nice job while he's been there. I think he's been a steady performer. And I don't see – I still see the Lions being competitive again this next year. So he's 10 for me. Any thoughts on Jared Goff?
I 100% agree. It's it's a world that I haven't lived in much of, but hearing a Lions quarterback in the top 10 with Matt Stafford and Jared Goff is very impressive. And Goff had a stellar season last year, regardless of the injuries and the problems that they had with a 9-8 season. He still put over 4,100 yards, still put over 30 touchdowns. That's impressive to do with a team like that. So, yeah, I think Jared Goff's top 10.
All right, there you have it, folks. Kind of a wild top 10. I don't think it's what a lot of people thought, but those are my top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL today. All right, we take another break. We come back, and we've got, I think it sucks to be a GM and all the decisions they have to go through. So sucks to be you is next, and it sucks to be a GM is going to be the focus when the Down and Dirty returns.
The Pete Souza Show, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. You want to talk NFL draft? I don't know. How about we get you Todd McShay? You want to talk Big 12? We can get you the commissioner. Somebody about the Cowboys? How about we have on the owner, Stephen Jones? Pop culture? Michelle Beadle. I mean, we will bring on the people that you want to hear from. And these people don't join us because of me. They join us because of you. You got to watch this show, okay? It's got everything you need. Sports, hijinks, laughs. Did I mention hijinks? We'll see you on the Pete Souza Show. Now, we are under the 365 Sports umbrella. Check it out. I'm wearing a Tulane shirt. No idea why.
It's the Pete Souza Show. Sports, Pete.
Tervis is all about staying hydrated with style and durability. You can trust Tervis tumblers to keep your drinks the perfect temperature, hot or cold, for hours. From the classic insulated tumblers to sleek stainless steel water bottles, each product is built to last and comes in endless designs to match your personality. Stay refreshed and express yourself with Tervis. Visit tervis.com today and find your perfect tumbler.
Sports don't stop, and neither do we. Welcome to 365 Sports, your home for real conversations, original shows, and coverage that lives where sports actually happen. Join David Smoke, Craig Smoke, and myself, Paul Catalina, for in-depth interviews and local stories to the moments national media misses. 365 Sports brings you the voices, debates, and perspectives fans care about every single day. Subscribe now on YouTube, search 365 Sports, and never miss a moment because sports aren't seasonal. They're 365.
Hey, sports fans, welcome back. It's the Down and Dirty Scott Mitchell. From time to time, we have a segment that we call Sucks to Be You. We do this because why people tune in to the news is they want to know someone has it worse off than they do, and you feel better about your life. So the news is designed to look into the car crash and go, whew, man, that sucks to be that guy, but I'm glad it's not me because my life is better, even though it really isn't that good to begin with. So as I thought about some of the things coming up or happening right now in the NFL, it sucks to be GMs. And it sucks because they have to make these horrible, awful decisions all of the time. And I think it's an absolutely horrible, grueling thing that they have to do. Now, if you're in Seattle right now, it doesn't suck to be the GM for the Seattle Seahawks. Every move that's been made has been gold, and so they are exempt from this today. But eventually, it's going to suck to be a GM, and here's why. Okay, so one of it's all the decisions that they have to make, and they're horrible decisions, and they're brutal decisions, and so and it really starts with like these young quarterbacks, and I think about how challenging that is to be, and they don't want to be wrong. No one wants to be wrong, and they'll make a situation 10 times worse when they do make a bad decision by just keeping the guy in there. And everyone around goes, this guy's horrible, and the only reason he's in here is because they don't want to look bad. But one of the challenging things for a team and a GM, and I think it's really tough, is how long do you stay with these young quarterbacks? And what you're seeing is these guys are making bad decisions because guys are rejuvenating careers. They're moving other places. There's a lot of guys, you look at Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold and Geno Smith, and the list goes on. I mean, you go back to like Jim Plunkett, going from being the first pick in the draft to being a bust in New England to winning a Super Bowl, multiple Super Bowls with the Los Angeles, Oakland, now Las Vegas Raiders. The Raiders. Anyways, the decision of how long do I stay with a young quarterback, I think is brutal because you so many of them get it wrong. You kind of look at today's NFL and you go, okay, like recently Zach Wilson out, gone, see you later. And he hasn't caused anyone at this point to go, yeah, that was a bad decision. Now you could argue the guy never had a chance. Like it was horrible. But then you get into the Tua situation. So now they keep Tua and they keep him and they go, no, we're going to keep him. We're going to invest, because that's the tough thing is if you keep them around, you have to pay them. And if you pay them, then you have to keep them around a lot longer. And so if they never really pan out, then you look stupid and you just go, well, I'm done. So like you take Baker Mayfield, here, first pick in the draft goes to, and just, it looks like there are times when he's doing well and not, and they just go, nope, out, gone, see ya. Now Baker's all of a sudden turned it around. A lot of people thought Baker Mayfield, I could arguably have put him in my top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL. Probably should have, as I think about it. But it's such a hard decision to know, did you do it right or wrong? So Trevor Lawrence, it was kind of in the Tua situation, and they paid him. and they're like, whew, okay. And it looks like that one might be the right decision, but for every right decision, there's a wrong decision. And I don't even know if there's any formula or way to say, yeah, this is this is how you do it. This is how you bring along a young quarterback, because none of them seem to be similar in their circumstances. None of them. I think the one thing that probably the constant is having someone who really understands how to develop a young quarterback in the NFL, an Andy Reid type of person or a Sean Payton type of person. So those are kind of some of the tough situations that you get in, and they're brutal. So Bryce Young right now, probably going to pay him, right? And so you go, huh? Okay. We hope it pans out after right now, because it looked like an absolute no for Bryce Young. And now it looks like, yeah, pretty sure, but we hope it works out after we pay him. Because Jalen Hurts, I don't know, after he got paid, you go, is it really working out? It just feels like something's really weird there. My point about all of this is that it just sucks to have to make that decision. And it's a really tough one, because now, you look at how much money the Arizona Cardinals and the Miami Dolphins are going to pay players that aren't even on their team, or the same thing with Sean Payton when he had Russell Wilson. And so even though you got past that first contract, or you got a big contract, it doesn't mean jack anymore if you're the player. And these GMs having to eat all that money and just say, hey, we screwed up on this one. And usually, and so it's just a brutally long or question. And I think it really sucks to have to make that decision. You wish it could be a lot easier and just go, yeah, we love this guy. And there are those that work out, the Justin Herberts or some of these other, guys, the Josh Allens and the Patrick Mahomes. And, it's like Jaden Daniels. You hope he's one of those guys too, but we don't know. Well, we'll see. And a lot of teams just go, man, we'd rather just live with what we have than to try to go find a new guy, because it's so hard to find a new guy. And so they make the decision, just live with a guy, and they're living with it now. Daniel Jones was a tough decision for the New York Giants, and they felt like, oh, we're going to get rid of Saquon. And then that looked really stupid. They kept Daniel Jones, and then they get rid of Daniel Jones, and now Daniel Jones is playing great. It's just a horrible, horrible decision. Okay. The other thing, I think why it sucks to be a GM is having to determine how long do I keep my veteran players around. So many teams, they held on to guys so long, and they just died on the vine because they fell in love with these guys. They kept them around, and they just didn't get rid of them. And it hurt them. And then you have other teams that just like, man, I know there's a lot of gas left in this tank. And I think of the 49ers in the Joe Montana era. And I know it's a little different now. The salary cap kind of helps you with this to some degree, but it's still about, which players do we keep and we hold around, because they got rid of Joe Montana, they got rid of Ronnie Lott, they got rid of Jerry Rice. I mean, think of the talent alone, but think of the leadership, and think of the chemistry and what you're giving up in that situation. Like, brutally hard. I think if you're the general manager of the 49ers, and their decision was, we don't keep, so they just made that decision. We don't keep them around. But you watch them still play and you go, yeah, but if you kept them around maybe a couple more years, you might win one more Super Bowl and then let them go, I don't know. I think it might be worth it. I think it's a tough decision. And so but now today, it's still kind of the same thing, because you have these veteran players and they're making a lot of money, and maybe they're not your absolute superstar, but they're massive contributors to your team. And you're just like, oh, okay, we can't keep everyone. So we got to pick who we're going to keep so we can budget things. And so, You just, it's a need situation. We need better linemen, so we'll keep that guy over a skilled guy, or we've got a lot of, and we'll try to go find a guy that will get us by. Because every team in the NFL, and this is part of what sucks, is you just don't get to go out and every position you just have a superstar. You have quality guys that get the job done for you, but they're not the playmakers. They're not those guys that are, a problem. And no team has all of that. They just don't. You can't. It just doesn't work. Like the Seattle Seahawks had to get rid of their running back, and they had to make some decisions with that. Now they have Zach Charbonnet still there, but it's just a really awful thing to have to make. And I think the other thing is, like, it's free agency. So now you go out and you pick players in free agency, and you just go, do we just go like Deshaun Watson and we just pay him, everything guaranteed? And I think that the decisions with free agency are challenging for these teams, because it gets into, do we go after and do we overpay for someone? Because you're always going to overpay in free agency. And so is it really worth it to go overpay for a guy, unless you're in the secondary market? Like, I think the Patriots live in the Belichick era, where we're just going to get bargain. We're going to get bargain basement prices, and we're going to get the Jerry Rice type of players and the Ronnie Lott type of players. They're just going to be a little bit later in their career, use them up for a couple of years and move on. And that's okay. But again, that's having to make those decisions. And I think it's hard. I think the other challenge is, it's like, how long do I keep a coach around? Like, or how do I hire a coach? Like, where do you find I just think this is now I know that's an ownership decision, but certainly the general manager has some say in that, I would imagine, because you are the general manager, meaning generally managing all aspects of the team. And you find these guys, and you're just like, if you listen to Nick Sirianni and you listen to Dan Campbell's acceptance speeches, their inaugural address as these new, you go, man, we are in a hurt of trouble. And then you get guys you just think for sure, the hottest new this or that or whatever, and it just doesn't pan out. So in my mind, I think it really sucks to be a general manager. I think it's high stress. I don't know how you make all the right decisions. I think there's certainly a lot of luck that plays out, and you just got to have all the pieces fit right and fit together. Otherwise, you're going to be out of a job in a short period of time. All right, that's all we have today. The show certainly hasn't sucked. So, and it certainly doesn't suck to be you, because you're awesome. Thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Martin, and thank you, Zach, for all that you do. This has been the Down and Dirty with Scott Mitchell. Until then, we'll see you then.